Welcome back to the channel.
Today we're filming our first podcast here in our Awkward Chat studio, and we're taking you guys along with us, and we're going to talk about the six.
Yeah, so come get lost with us in some head chopping.
So six, as I was starting to talk about before, Six is a Broadway musical that really, I think, started over the last 6 or 7 years and has become really popular thanks to social media and a bunch of other stuff. You really can't really get on TikTok without seeing one of the songs from Six. So they are touring all over the world. They have multiple tour groups that are all across America, I know overseas in Europe, and so just so happened that they were coming down to the Venetian for 7 weeks, for a 7-week run, and we were going to be in town, which doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, so it kind of fell into place. I mean, we just kind of got lucky, and then at the same time, we were here, and it was an interesting experience. This is my first off-Broadway, or I guess is that technically what they call it, off-Broadway?
Yeah, it's like an off-Broadway show.
I know the definition is basically Broadway, so many people. Off-Broadway is supposed to be less than that, and then there's other categories. But my knowledge of Broadway isn't that in-depth, I think.
This is probably only my second off-Broadway show, and the first one I saw was Annie, and I was 7, so...
So, I did actually see one of those.
At the Broadway
when I was
Palm?
Kid. Yeah, the Broadway
Yeah.
Palm. Yeah, I think I went to a few shows there. But anyways, so let us know in the comments. So is it off Broadway? Is that what it's supposed to be? But it was a cool experience. So we go to the Palazzo.
Yeah.
And it's at the Palazzo Theater, right? But they say it's at the Venetian, but technically the Venetian owns the Palazzo, and the Palazzo doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, I feel like they're calling it, come see Six at the Venetian.
Yes.
Just because the Venetian has the clout of being the Venetian.
Yeah.
So, but it's actually in the Palazzo Theater, which wasn't bad. The theater seemed interesting. This was our third Las Vegas show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had David Copperfield, and then we had...
the sexy, weird
the
dance
red
night.
Or whatever, Rouge. At this trot. Yeah.
That was another fun night. But yeah, and then this one, Six, and they are all different caliber types of shows, but yet very similar in the seating.
Yeah, I would say that the seating for the Six was actually the worst so far. At least with the Rouge show, they had to space you out because the actors are stage people, mingle with everybody. So it's it's really cool, and it's a really fun experience. Definitely check it out if you're in town and you want to see more adult show. But yeah, they're through the audience. David Copperfield had some space because he was supposed to walk through the audience, but he didn't do as much as he did pre-COVID for sure. And this one, it felt like you were a sardine in a sardine can. It was just so cramped, so tight, and it wasn't even stadium seating, which really upset me.
Which sucked for me because I shit you not, in all the glory of everything that done to us, is I got sat behind a really, really tall Asian man.
Yeah, he was 7 foot tall.
He was tall. He was tall, and so when he sat, he was still very tall, and it wasn't even tall. They took the seats and alternate them, so they're every other one, so you're kind of sitting, even though you're sitting behind someone, you're catty-cornered between two people, so they didn't even do that. So I was literally directly right behind him, and I spent the entire show going left, going right, going left, going right with my head and my whole body. And then same Asian family tried to get out of their seats multiple times and ended up putting their seats on our laps.
Yeah, that's fine. They were nice though. Other than he was tall, wasn't his fault obviously, and it's not the fault of him for sure, because it's why would you set up seats like this? Why would you?
Yeah, totally not his fault.
So instead of doing stadium seating, they basically do different levels, but then on the level you're all equal.
Yeah.
So we had 4 to 6 rows of chairs on this one level, and they're all back to back, tightly packed. There's nowhere you can go. So if someone taller sits in front of you, you can't see anything. You can't even see the stage. It's what am I supposed to watch?
So that made the show a little frustrating. I mean, I still enjoyed the show. We weren't super far behind the stage.
We had a good seat. I mean, other than just the weird obstructions of them, it was a pretty decent seat. We were right in the middle of the theater, right in the middle of the stage, only probably about like 20 feet out, maybe not even that far.
So getting into the actual details of the show.
Oh, well, we need to detail our VIP experience because it was VIP-pizzle, man.
Yeah, so I bought VIP tickets, and in Las Vegas, VIP doesn't always necessarily mean what VIP means when you go to a concert or like you go to another type of event. VIP for this show was basically we went into a separate entrance.
Yeah, that was
and that was it. And even then, like, they didn't even help us find our seat. They were helping other people, and we were just like, where am I going? Like, I need help.
Yeah.
Please, ma'am. And they're like, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, we'll get to you. Just wait there.
I'm like, well, you're helping everybody behind me.
I don't understand the VIP thing, I have to be honest with you. Because, like she said, it was basically just a different door. Basically, they named one door regular door and one door VIP, and the VIP went through the VIP door, and that was it.
Yeah, and we did VIP for the Rouge show as well. It was the same kind of thing. It didn't mean anything. It was just where your seat was.
Yes, they did call that VIP seating too. Yeah, it
was strange.
It's stupid because that's not VIP to me.
This
VIP
is premium
bonus
seating.
experience.
That's what you need to, like. If I am a VIP, I expect to be treated like I own the place.
Give me everything.
I paid for this. I own you for the next 2.5 hours.
But so we get to the show, right? And the one thing, again, now that Nacy mentions it, I have seen Broadway shows other than this one, but they were when I was really young. But so this is like the first one I've seen in a long time. It was weird because it was more like a concert to me. Like they just basically went from one song to the other with like a short interdelay, and it's basically like going to see like somebody perform, and as they're setting up the instruments in between, that's basically the break period.
Yeah, I 100%. This was not what I thought it was gonna be, and to be fair, I tried to look and read about it, and I was hoping like maybe there might be some more theatrics to it, but there's not. It is an all-female cast, including the people in the band, so it is very like down with the man, pro-woman situation. And again, it was an hour. I think it was 90 minutes.
If that. Yes, it was very
maybe
much
70. Like maybe somewhere between like 70 and 80 minutes long.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not very long.
It was between an hour and a half, but it's closer to an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And like Gary said, like they would sing a song. Like if you have a streaming music service like Apple Music or Amazon Music or Spotify, and you look at the album for Six, that's it. That's what you get. You get those songs, and you get about, like Gary said, like 5 to 10 minutes between those songs, maybe, for them to do like some minor explanation about what was happening. But even then, they really didn't explain a whole lot about the stories of the women. I thought they were going to go like a little bit more into depth about their stories and their histories and that kind of stuff, but it was very like surface level.
Yeah, agreed. I think it was just kind of weird too. Like it starts out with they're basically like, oh, let's challenge each other to who has the worst story in herstory, and it's like, okay. And then the whole end's like, no, it's women empowerment. We're not making fun of each other. But it's like, but you set the premise. I didn't. Mm-hmm. You set this whole story in line. I didn't. I don't care that you're in competition. I don't care. And then they're like, oh, the only reason why we're famous is because of the man. And it's like, you're famous because it was the first time somebody appointed by God turned their back on religion in their faith. And that's why it's interesting to most scholars. Yeah, and it's weird that he had so many wives. But it's like, that's why you're interesting. And they're like, oh, well, we led wonderful lives. And it's like, okay, but you're setting all these premises up, not me. I don't know what the problem is here.
Yeah, I think I did a paper on Henry VIII when I was a junior.
We had a scholar in the house.
And honestly, I don't even know what the shit I wrote about it. I don't remember. But again, I was hoping there was gonna be a little bit more history to this than just the surface level songs. Like the history was very surface level, and Gary's pretty accurate on the whole, like, they changed the whole premise of, like, what they wanted. Like, they were like, oh, we're gonna challenge each other like most women do. We fight each other. It's just something we do. And sorry, there was an email that came through that I needed to read. And then, like, by the time you got to the end, they were just like, oh, we're only famous because of Henry. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of. Yeah. If you had never married him, true, you probably wouldn't be famous.
Yeah, but
and he was still a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, I don't know the dude. Obviously, never met him, so I can't.
Well, the story. I mean, as the story goes,
he doesn't seem like a good person. I will agree,
yeah.
But but at the same time, that's just like saying like, well, Mark Hamill's famous because of like George Lucas. It's like, yeah, it's true, but it's not all the way true. Like, there's more to it than just that. Yeah.
Yes, that may have opened the door.
Yeah.
But you made it your own.
It's like the celebrities that complain, like they got famous by this movie, but they don't want to talk about that character anymore. Yeah. And it's like, I felt like it was very, very sort of in that vein. And it was like, no one cares. No one acts like that outside of actors. Like, if you come up to me like, oh, that's some great stonework on the building over there when you laid some blocks down or whatever, you're like, yeah, that's cool. You're never going to shun that and be like, I didn't do that building. It's a very, like, wealthy sort of perspective
persona.
To that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, agreed. Because it's okay. Yes, that might have been the door that opened for you, but you are like you made it yourself.
Right.
Like,
and then you walk through it, and then the rest of it is you. Like, the whole thing is you, not just like walking through the door.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
So it's like, that's how I feel like they took it, and it's just, it was fun though. The music was good. I would call it like it's
very
like
poppy.
It's like very poppy, but it's like all your favorite pop songs, slightly modified and different in a good way. But it's just kind of like, that's how I felt like the songs were. Like, all of the songs they sing, if you really thought about it, you could be like, oh, that's kind of like this song, or it's kind of like that song. So that was fun. And
I liked it. I mean, I still liked it. For what it was worth, I still liked it. And I think I still want to go see an actual Broadway play on Broadway, which hopefully we're going to get to do this summer. I'm going to go to New York City. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We're going to probably go see, what's it called again?
I wanted to see the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, Book of Mormon. But there's a ton of shows on Broadway that we can go see. I've heard people tell me to go see Sweeney Todd with, what's his name? Josh Groban. Oh, Josh Groban's got some pipes. But, again, Broadway is Broadway, and I don't feel like this show was a Broadway show. Because it wasn't very long. There wasn't really, like, a whole lot of, like, costume. Like they wore the same costume. It was the same set. There was no set changes.
Yeah, the only modifications to their costumes was, like, occasionally, like, they'd bring out a wig or, like, a hat. Mm-hmm. And then they would take that off and wear it for a little bit, and then they'd throw it off stage. Like, that was it. And, I mean, some other trivial stuff, but it was all, like, easy to remove stuff. There was no big set changes. The back of it, the setup is basically, like, they're on bleachers, but there's only, like, 3 levels. On the 3rd level, there's, like, musicians. So on one side, it had, like, a woman playing piano. On the other side, it had, like, a woman playing a guitar and a bass. I think I'm right with that. That could be a couple different interests, but that was basically it. And the people in the back, they would reference, like, a concert, but they weren't actually part of the play.
Yeah.
They were just musicians there. So it was kind of like this mix between a concert and a play, and it feels like it never really got into the play area because there's no real, like you said, scenes or sets, and it was just kind of very static.
It wasn't even really acting, per se. Like, I mean, yeah, they were acting through the music, but, like, I didn't really feel like there were any, like, vocal, like, any, like, real hard lines to memorize or anything.
Right. It was basically just, most of their communication between each other outside of the songs was just like, yes, queen. Mm-hmm. You know, like those, like, little, like, quips or whatever that they do. And that's it. So
the show was fun, though. We went to dinner before the show, and that was interesting. It was...
Was that Delmonico?
Delmonico's.
Okay. Yeah, Delmonico. We do so much lately. It goes together.
So much stuff we're doing, guys. And that was okay. We tend to now do really early dinner reservations, it seems like, if we're going somewhere to film.
Yeah, it's just better for us filming-wise, because it's typically quieter, so it's easier to get our audio, and you're typically in a good space where you're not actually filming many more people in the scenes and stuff. So
usually by the time we're wrapping up is when it starts to get really busy.
Yeah. And
we can get, like, a nice good pitch of the restaurant without all the patrons in there, because sometimes we feel bad. We're like, like, we're not trying to, like, show you, but You just so happen to be in a public space that I need to cover. So, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, but the steaks were good. It was an alright experience.
The steaks had no flavor.
Well, I mean, they were decent cuts. They weren't super fatty or anything. Look, if you compare them to the best, obviously Golden Steer is still holding strong in Vegas for us as the best steak place to go to.
Yes.
There's not much close. Everything else has been either pizzazz with no flavor, which is I think where Emerald kind of fell, or honestly just not good. But that's a whole nother story.
The shrimp are good. I think the shrimps are
the barbecue shrimp
of my entire dinner.
And the cornbread thing, and then they did this pop roll. It's kind of like a yeast roll, but it's croissanty at the same time.
It was very airy, like a croissant.
But it's super good. But the barbecue shrimp, too bad we only got 4 of them, but that was good. That was good.
My French onion soup was cheesy. It was very, very cheesy, but I don't know, the broth, I wasn't a fan of the broth.
we totally got off topic because we were talking about sex, and now we're talking about...
Well, this is part of our night at 6. This is part of our night at 6.
I mean, the Palazzo was a good experience. The room didn't get cold, but that's kind of common as of late.
Yeah, and my pump stopped working in the middle of the night, and I had some pump issues. And then I couldn't go to sleep.
But
we did order room service, though. That was...
Yeah. And the room was super spacious, super cute, really nice, really bright. So a lot of things going for it.
I would definitely stay there again. I don't know what other shows the Palazzo and the Venetian have. But I definitely know we want to go back to the Venetian and do the boats, the gondolas.
We're going to do the gondolas. We got to do a walkthrough of the shops because we kind of did that in one video, but we didn't really get as good as we should have. And then there's all those restaurants. So everything on the Venetian is kind of one-off restaurants, which we were surprised. Delmonico is owned by Emerald, in case you didn't know, Emerald Lagasse. We didn't even know that. It's not even advertised as that, but it is his restaurant because it says it on the menu and stuff. But there's nothing outside that you think. It just says Delmonico Steakhouse.
It makes me think maybe he bought it
second hand and he hasn't decided to take it over.
Yeah, he bought the rights to it and he's just kind of letting it ride.
Because the weird thing, we did go to a Delmonico's in Syracuse, but that wasn't owned by Emerald, and that was horrible. It was horrible not to go to that restaurant, whatever you do. But
that was. I feel like I have no desire to go back to upstate New York. I don't, but I think it would be hilarious to try some of the places we used to eat there, like the Greek pizza place. We go in there and we're like, oh God, we ate here. I know we're gonna say that. It was
nasty already.
I know we're gonna say that already, but just to be this is where we used to get pizza, and that was pretty much the only place we ate at was the pizza place. We'd order wings and pizza, and we'd get their Greek blue cheese.
Oh my gosh, their wings were fantastic. But if you let them sit in the trash for 2 days, it stank like something died. Whatever Tabasco flavoring that they. But they were my favorite wings.
This is the best blue cheese I've ever had in my entire life. I don't like blue cheese dressing.
The blue cheese from Hog Bodies in Cape Coral gives it a run for its money. That's the best I've ever had. But she is right. The blue cheese was very good. Yeah. Very, very good.
Yeah, so we would eat at that place, and then we would eat at Dinosaur Barbecue, which we are actually going to go back to.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
We actually do. When we lived in Albany, we went to Dinosaur all the time. You actually see a video on the channel.
And I think that's it. Because we didn't have money back then, but...
yeah, we could go back to that Burger King where we got sick from getting those...
Yeah, that sounds like a great time. Do you remember this? Do you remember the day we were driving to this
we got these when the Burger King started coming out with their special sauce on the double cheeseburgers. We were like, oh, let's go try it. We got it. It didn't smell good, but we were so poor that we were like, we can't skip this because then we won't be able to eat again for a while.
Yeah.
So we're like, fudge, we got to eat it. And they're like, it smelled bad.
So bad.
I stripped it as much off as we could, and we still got sick. We got so sick.
It was the worst.
It was like Thousand Island that they had left out in the sun for a couple of years or something because it was that
so
bad. Oh, so
I don't think, I'm going to be, if we're completely honest here, I don't think we've eaten Burger King really, truly. I don't think I've had a Burger King burger since that day. I
think we've had it one time when we were traveling on the road.
Right,
and it was the gas station. It was the only thing open, and we had a cheeseburger or whatever. But yes, you are correct. We rarely ever eat at Burger King since then. I could say probably maybe once since then. And that's like at least 12 years ago.
I've eaten their breakfast, but
Yeah.
that's not the same to me. It's completely different.
But when we lived in North Georgia, there was a Burger King, but no one went there.
You don't eat at that Burger King.
Yeah, you don't eat at that Burger King.
Everybody in the town tells you don't eat at the Burger King.
Don't eat at that Burger King. You know it too, because there's a McDonald's right across the street, always packed.
Busy.
The Burger King will have like one person in the drive-thru. Yeah.
Anyways,
but even like in Orlando and stuff, we didn't eat at it either. So
we didn't. But yeah, I would love to kind of go back and like touch those places again and just.
I mean, some of them.
We could drive by it. We could drive by where the pizza place is supposed to be. If we make it into Syracuse like we're planning, we could do a drive-by. I'm not saying we get out and we order anything, but we drive by.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that area has turned into. It used to be like the gentrification area and everything.
Just text Pam.
So like, right? Yeah, she would probably know.
Yeah, like, I still have some friends that live in Syracuse, so I should text her and be like, "Hey, can you like tell me this place still exists?
This place, is it worth anything?"
And then we drive past our old place too, and just see it in shambles. Like it was already in shambles when we lived in it 15 years ago. If they didn't do anything to this house, if this house is still standing, it is haunted. And the only thing holding it up are the spirits that live within it.
Right.
Because it was literally coming down on its foundation.
Yeah, it was like bending into itself. Yeah. Yes.
Anyways, we started this conversation talking about Six, and we ended with shitty foundations.
With our trip to New York, yes.
But yeah, so if you get the chance to see Six and you don't really get your hopes up for like a really long, like true Broadway show, but you just want to go like have a good time, have fun, I definitely recommend it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun experience, even for me. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it's fun. It wasn't that expensive. The seating could be better, so definitely try to get closer to the stage so you can actually see stuff and
every
lower the
theater is
risk.
going to be different.
It'd lower the risk to actually have someone taller in front of you. The best thing we can argue is get one of the booths. If you can make sure you get one of the booth seats, yes, you might share it with somebody else, but you're at least elevated higher than the people in front of you. So definitely legit tip there, go for those booths. Yeah. But it's worth going to.
Yeah, and if you go see it like in your local theater, your theater is probably going to be different than the seating at the Venetian.
I was specifically. But yeah. Definitely
go check it out for a fun night. Yeah. Or girls' night.
Yeah, because they are the traveling one too, so they are the people who are going to be traveling. So.
And I know every show, like right now I think there's 3 or 4 shows touring the U.S., they all have a different cast. So, and they all bring their own elements to each character. Yeah. So, if you guys liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
Hit that subscribe button.
And make sure you ring that notification bell so that way you guys get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.